Southwestern stuffed sweet potatoes. Yum. And so what I did is right before you guys came on, I washed my sweet potato really good. I pierced it with a few holes. You can do that with a fork or a knife. I popped it in the microwave for just 3 minutes, okay? And now I'm going, and you don't have to, you can skip this step and just microwave it until it's fully cooked. But I like to put a little olive oil on the outside on the skin, and then do a little salt and pepper on the skin. And like I said, if you just want to microwave it, no problem. But this just gets the skin nice and crisp, and it has some flavor, which I really like. So I have heated up my air fryer, and I'm just gonna pop this in my air fryer. I'm gonna do one sweet potato. It's only my husband and myself, and we can each do a half a sweet potato. That is gonna be plenty for us. You could do several if you're doing this for a bunch of people. If you have picky eaters in your house, you can do regular potato. You don't have to do sweet potato. You could do corn tortillas. There's so many different ways that you can do this, and everybody can build their own so they can make it the way they want, okay? So while that is cooking, we're gonna go to the next step. So what I did is I got my pan nice and hot. I just added a little bit of olive oil. I put it on medium-high heat, and I let that heat up for probably 4 to 5 minutes. I really let my pan get hot before I added anything to it, okay? And then I just added about a pound of ground turkey. Just let the meat cook for a solid, 5 to 6 minutes, where it starts just getting all really brown around the edges and starting to brown through. And that's when you want to go ahead and use the mix and chop it up. It'll keep your meat from getting all stuck in the blades. And so that's just a little trick. And I took an avocado, and I also used my mix and chop for the avocado and just mashed that down. And I'm going to just add 1 heaping tablespoon of our guacamole seasoning to the avocado. And you guys, I love this guacamole seasoning because it has everything in it. It's the type of dip that is better if you let it rest. So if you make it in the morning and then let it rest in the fridge, if you have our guacamole store and serve, it will stay fresh, it will not brown, and you'll be so happy with it. So, all right, so I think our meat is done enough because of the power of TV. I started it way before you guys came on. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick, so you can see it's much easier and much better than having a ton of the meat on here, which is what happens when you just go ahead and start chopping while it's completely raw, all right? And I'm gonna add a couple of heaping capfuls of our everything taco seasoning. So the everything taco seasoning has everything in it. You can use Southwest seasoning. You could use regular taco seasoning if that's all that you have at your house. Any kind of taco Mexican seasoning is gonna be great. Then I'm gonna add a half a cup of water to that. And then I'm just gonna let this continue to cook. And then we'll start getting our toppings ready. Okay, this is just the simmering process with the water, help bring all the flavors together so it is more flavorful. So you just want it on a really low temperature and let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Then we're gonna work on adding our next ingredients. So I've been letting that simmer, but I do wanna add 1 cup of frozen corn. Okay, if you have fresh corn on the cob and you want to take it off the cob, that's fine too. I'm going to do about a half a can of black beans. You can do a whole can of black beans, whatever you like, but for me, I'm going to do a half a can of black beans, and I'm just going to give this a stir. And in the meantime, I'm just going to chop up some parsley. No, not parsley, cilantro. But if you hate cilantro, you could certainly do parsley. I don't even have to use my hand if you just, run it over the board here. but that's going to be for the top of the potato. I'm also going to do some tomato. So what kind of toppings do you like on a taco? I want to hear you guys. Now, most of you who know me know I don't do dairy, so if I was a cheese eater, which I used to be, and I love cheese, believe me, but it doesn't love me. But if I was a cheese eater, after I stuffed my potato, I would put cheese on the top and I would throw it in the air fryer for about 3 minutes or so. You just want to melt the cheese and then top it with salsa and sour cream, or even better, a substitute is low-fat Greek yogurt. I'm telling you, when you put that on the taco, you put that on something, it does not taste different to me. It really tastes good. And that's just a quick, easy swap that's healthier. I want to share a few things you should always have in your pantry. Beans, every kind of beans. So pinto beans, black beans, great northern beans, any kind of beans. If you make them yourself, even better. I do make them myself a lot in my pressure cooker. Having frozen vegetables, frozen corn, peas, frozen vegetables always on hand. Also, having potatoes and sweet potatoes and things like that on hand is really great. And then keeping your chicken, ground turkey, whatever it is that you eat for meat, in serving sizes. Like, I only cook for 2 people, so I have them in individual packages for 2 people, and then I can just take out a package in the morning, and it just makes things really, really easy when it comes to dinner time. So the name of the game is just keeping things so simple. All of us are so busy. I get it. I'm busy. You're busy. But we still want to eat good, right? So now we're just going to put our potato together. Okay, so all I did was, when I took my potato out of the air fryer, I sliced it in half the long way. And then I just did some X's and kind of like fluffed up the inside of the potato, the pulp of the potato. Then I added a big heaping spoonful of the meat mixture. So you can see it's meat, beans, and the corn. And then I'm going to sprinkle some cilantro on the top. I'm going to put some tomatoes on the top. I'm going to add some salsa on the top. And then some guacamole. And you know, you could add lettuce, you could add anything you like, and then this is done.